Hello, and welcome to the Par 3 presented by thelines.com. Matt Brown, Steven Andress. And Steven, coming off of, listen, I to quickly give Xander Schauffele his flowers. This is a dude that has been obviously the second best golfer in the world over the past 18 to 24 months behind Scottie Scheffler. I am glad to see all of his accomplishments actually pay off for him, and he's no longer the guy that we look at and say, yeah, man, Xander's great, but he can't get it done. Yeah, man, Xander's great, but he can't close the deal. It's just a quick tip of the cap because the dude really has. He's been the second best player in the world, and I'm glad that he's no longer looked at as the dude that can't get it done.
Yeah, sidebar, I go on a week's vacation. I forget where the mute button is, so sorry for the cough there right off the top of the podcast. But yeah, I mean, I think he had 10 major top 10 finishes before he broke through, so I don't think this surprises anybody that he finally is. It's going to make for more difficult decisions now. This is not a Rory McIlroy situation where he's getting older and older and we still have to pay the same price. This is a young golfer who are now never going to see a 2 next to his name unless he has like a odd bad year for multiple months at a time. So this is a name that we're going to have to handicap and contend with for a long time on the PGA Tour, especially in this era of diluted fields and talent that has gone over to live. So hats off to him. He's certainly one of the best golfers in the world. But in my opinion, Matt, you buried the lead because our boy Nicky Dunlap shoots 9 under par at the Barracuda. I don't know what happened in the British Open. I was busy cashing Nick Dunlap 50-1 at the Cuda, baby.
I'll say this. It's a... You mentioned the live stuff, and this is just more of a personal opinion type deal, and then we'll move on into our picks here. But what a bad year for live. I mean, it's like outside of Bryson, everyone last year was like, look, the best players in the world are actually over on live. Like, how can y'all say this about Scottie Scheffler?
They'll be fine. They'll be rested. They don't have to play as many rounds.
Yeah, he doesn't have to play against all the best players in the world. Look at whatever. Only Bryson showed up this year. I mean, only Bryson showed up. If you're a live lover and live backer and live apologist, that's fine. I don't care. But don't be delusional. Live got their ass kicked in the majors this year. And there's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. So don't give me this whole, we don't need to think what Xander did and what Scottie's been doing and all the things like that aren't just incredibly amazing, because they are. And it's proven by the way that these guys went out and played in the majors this year.
And you know what? More than willing to change my opinion with new information. I don't think this merger that they told us about a year ago, I don't think it's coming anytime soon, Matt. Yeah. So I think it's going to be like this for a while. And I kind of think John Rahm maybe thought it was coming sooner than it is.
I'm with you there too. I'm pretty sure that he did. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, oh, what did I do? Actually, he's not going to do that because he bathes in a,
and we're going to get fewer and fewer live golfers in these majors, right? Because the exemptions are going to run out. So unless you won one or, finished very highly, we're going to see fewer Joaquin Niemans in these majors.
Yeah. I was about to say maybe he's regretting his decision. And then I'm like, wait a minute. He's bathing in a platinum bathtub with wiping his butt with hundreds. So yeah, probably not. All right. We do this each and every week. Steven gives you 3. I give you 3. Let's head on over to the 3M. What you got going on, buddy?
All right. This will come as a shock to nobody who's listened to this podcast this year, but I am back on Akshay Bhatia for the 3M Open in Minnesota. I think, on paper, this is a long course, 7,400 plus yards, but one little nugget I gathered is that this year's 3M, they are growing the rough longer than they have in past years. So whereas previous 3Ms, I would just be looking for bombers, I don't think it's that clear cut this year. I think accuracy is important off the tee and on approach. And we know Akshay can putt as well. I mean, this guy's had a phenomenal year this year. Won in Texas, almost won another event earlier this year. If he didn't miss a couple of short putts on the last 2 holes at the Rocket Mortgage, top 5 at the Travelers. If you give me a board where Tony Finau is the favorite and Sam Burns is the second choice, and I can get Akshay Bhatia 22-1 right now at Bet365. You can give it 20-1 at BetMGM. There are 25% boosts and 30% boosts out there if you're in the land of regulated sports books. I got them all the way up to 28.5-1 this week. I'm not sure Batia isn't the second best player in this field at this point, and it feels like sacrilege to say that with, I know one of your favorites because he's from your hometown and a guy I thought was going to be really big time as he's gotten older and older. But I think Batia is still on the come up here, and his accuracy in his ball striking is really attractive to me this week. Not only because of the rough map, but we have a decent amount of water that threatens these players too if they get too wayward.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Akshay certainly a dude that is super, super interesting this week.
And don't care at all that he missed the cut at the British Open. Like some of these guys that missed the cut, it's just a totally different kind of golf. We had weird splits with the wind and the rain.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not part of my handicap.
And honestly, I think that he might be second in win equity in this tournament behind Finau, in my opinion. He really might. He really might in all this. I'm going to take the plunge. I haven't bet him at all this year, and I'm a guy that has lost more money on Keegan Bradley maybe than any person on the face of the planet. But Keegan really popped for me this week, and everything that I was kind of looking at, seventh overall was the lowest that he finished in any of the models of the stats that I put in this week, Steven. Keegan, we know he is kind of like Keegan is now like Xander. He's like now Keegan is the dude that competes for 3 rounds and then can't get it done after 4. But in a field that is much, much weaker than we have seen over the last couple of weeks, I'm going to roll Keegan out there. He is pretty good off of the tee. He's pretty good on approach. He's pretty good in the different little things that I actually factored in at least a little bit of bent grass putting as well, because after having played several bent grass greens this past week, humble brag, when I was in Wisconsin playing all of the best some of the best courses in the world. It is different. It's a different thing. And so bent grass, if it fits your eye, can certainly help you a little bit. And he's one of the better guys in the field on bent as well. So Keegan Bradley, for me this week in a watered down field a little bit where I wouldn't play him, I don't think, in a full field event.
Yeah. If he wasn't first off my card, he was close for me. There's only 4 guys in this field over the past 24 rounds that rank top 40 in both driving distance and fairways gained. So they can hit it far and they can hit it straight, which is going to matter more this year with the longer rough, allegedly. Keegan was one of them. Joe Highsmith was another. I think Chan Kim is one. And the second guy that I'm going to mention here on my card was the 4th and final one, who's the only player in this field who ranks top 20 in driving distance and fairways gained. And he's an amateur. His name is Luke Clanton. If you've been following in recent weeks, you know that he actually was a pre-tournament favorite a couple of weeks ago, which to me is just indefensible. You can't bet that. Now, if you shop at the wrong book, you're going to have to pay 25-1 on him. I wouldn't do that. There's a 30 in the enhanced win odds at Bet365. I think there's a couple other books. You might be able to still find a 30 on him. That if it starts with a 3, then I have enough flexibility in my 3 units to win 24 unit methodology where I can still fit some other guys I like this week. But if that is quite a weapon to have, even though he's got an A next to his name as an amateur, to be able to hit it as far as he does and as long as he does in this quality of a field that really only has one guy I'd be really scared of in terms of ball striking is Tony Finau. But I mean, just to put it in perspective here, over the past 24 rounds, and I'll caveat this with Clanton doesn't have 24 rounds, so he's getting in these rankings based on 16 rounds, so it is a smaller sample size. But top 20 in both driving distance and fairways gained. Finau is 36th in driving distance, 139th in fairways gained for Tony Finau over the past 24 rounds. So, I mean, that was enough to scare me off of him, of not going with a shorter outright card. And Clanton, I mean, it's not just the driving either with what he's doing. His approach play has been fantastic. He's 31st in this field over that stretch of strokes gained putting. So he's getting opportunity after opportunity. If he has a big putting week, then I'm not ruling out the possibility that he can win an event in a field that is not as strong like this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Certainly ranks pretty high for me in my models as well. I just hate the number really attached to it. Which
I do too. Full disclosure, I hate the number 2.
Yeah, it's just the only thing that's kind of holding me back. when it comes to that. My second guy is a guy we played about a month ago. He almost got there for us in a weak field. We're going back to Ben Griffin this week. Pretty good fit for everything that we're looking at this week. He would actually be higher. Ben, he's 12th in my model right now. I'm looking. It's because I weighted good drive percentage fairly heavily, Steven, and he is 78th in this field in good drive percentage. So that has it kind of weights him down a little bit. I imagine if I had not weighted good drive percentage as much as I did, he'd be inside the top 10 in the model. And you have to, sometimes I'm not a slave to the model either, Steven. We should always mention that. It's just I'm taking the information that I put in, and then I'm trying to dissect that information, and it's like, okay, well, maybe he has a little bit better week with the driver this week, and guess what? There are also a lot of holes where you don't have to hit driver, and so maybe he's a little bit better with long driving irons or fairway woods or whatever is hitting the fairways and things like that. And so for me, I'm going to take the upside that I think a guy like Griffin has, which we've seen multiple times with Ben Griffin, is him going out, and the guy's been tickling these top 10, Steven. Like, he's been around. He has been doing very good. It's like I don't care that he missed the cut at the. It's just a different type of golf. Like, I'm not worried about that. He made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He made 6 cuts in a row before that. I mean, so it's just tougher, different type of golf in there. So give me Ben Griffin at a nice little price for a guy that I think maybe at the very least, guys, come Sunday, can put you in a position to make some money. We just need him to kind of be in that top 2 or 3 up there, and then we'll be able to monetize the ticket.
I suspect you having good drives gained in your model is how he got onto your card and not mine, because I went with driving distance and fairways gained separately, which he doesn't rank well there, but clearly it hasn't mattered on the courses he plays because he's a stellar iron player as well. So if it is true that the rough is longer, that maybe that affects him. But, I mean, other than the off-the-tee accuracy and the lack of power, everything else about his game surely fits at this situation. And, playing in the middle of summer, you should get better rollout in the fairways if he finds the fairways. So certainly understand why he made your card there for sure. I am going to play a little recent form here for my last guy, and it's Billy Horschel. I know we've said I don't care that much about what happened at the Open, and I do believe that. I don't think because Billy Horschel finished second at the British Open that's the reason he's gonna come to the 3M and potentially win here. But if you go bigger picture, this is still an 8-time PGA Tour winner we're talking about. This is a guy who, if we add the context that he had a really, frankly, depressing year last year that really had him down and had him crying in front of a microphone at the podium, and he has overcome that. He has doubled down on his work ethic. He was on the range at TPC Twin Cities this week on Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. after finishing second at the British Open. So I believe he is locked in at this point of the PGA Tour season, despite this not being one of the big events, despite this not being one of the signature events. And we know that he is a player that has done well in the Florida swing. Courses with a lot of water, with accuracy at a premium, and that's what we have here potentially at TPC Twin Cities. So he's already won this year at a weaker field event at Punta Cana. This is a little bit stronger field than that, but I'm really just taking pedigree and class and, again, find the right number. For me, if you just look at basic odds, you're going to see Billy Horschel as short as 22-1. Would never bet 22-1 this week. Like that doesn't make sense to me because the bigger body of work and the form doesn't really defend that. But at Bet365, if you go to their Bet Boost section, they're giving you 40-1 on Billy Horschel. Now that gets interesting. Now, like when I ran one of my model subscriptions over at Data Golf, like they're telling me his numbers should start with a 20, just in the upper 20s. So with a 4 next to his name, now that becomes interesting. Now we're taking a player with pedigree and class who has, like, you're not finding another 8-time winner in this field. So I think he's at least locked in, where I'm not sure other guys with bigger names quite care as much at this point in the season.
Let's throw a triple-digit guy out there to finish things up. Obviously, these guys are more of your, hey, maybe you can find some value in playing him top 20. Maybe you can find some value in playing him even top 10 if you want to bet like the super upside, even a top 5 at a place where ties pay in full. But I'm going to go Patrick Fishburne, a guy that ended up in the model way higher, had to go dig in. Why does a model like Patrick Fishburne? Well, over the last 24 rounds off the tee, he is third in this field. He is 40th in approach. He's 55th in putting overall. He is third in strokes gained total. You just keep going across the board. And for whatever reason, this guy is just green across the board in the model. And you dig in like, why have I not paid attention to Patrick Fishburne? Well, look, he doesn't play the biggest of the big tournaments. And the thing I like about a guy that's triple digits is he's going to go out and he's either going to get cut or he's going to play well. If you go in and look at his page and see his results, let's go back to the Punta Cana. T23, a T4 at the Zurich team event, but still, then cut, then T20, then cut, T17 at a Corn Ferry, T25, then cut at the John Deere, then a 15th, and then a third. Like, this is a dude that either has it or doesn't. And if you're playing a triple-digit guy, that's kind of what you want anyway, right? Like, you either want him to have it, and then he puts you in contention. You don't want your triple-digit dudes to be like top 40 bets. Like, that's not really what you're doing when you're playing these long shot guys, because their game is obviously so volatile that a top 40 bet, you're betting top 40 bets for safety. There is no safety with the guys like this, right? He's either going to play super well and likely get inside the top 20, or he's going to play terribly and he's going to get cut, which is fine. And that's what we look for in these long shot guys. So Patrick Fishburne was one for me that after I dug in, wondering why the hell he's as high as 5th in one of my models, I might add. There's some reason to believe that in a tournament like this, it's worth a long shot play.
Yeah, don't blame you. The triple-digit guy I went after, just quick note as we finish up, was Neil Shipley. Like he wound up in triple digits. Obviously, one of the best amateur players of the past couple of years at the majors, top amateur honors at the U.S. Open and the Masters. Maybe we haven't seen his ceiling yet, right? Like some of these other triple-digit guys, they're bubble guys, right? For the FedEx Cup playoffs. They are what they are. We know what they are. So like this is the time of year where I may want to just take a shot on a guy who's new to the scene, who may be good and we just don't know it yet.
Yep. Only other guy I probably will end up with the ticket with, just because I can't ignore where he's at in the model with the odds that are attached, is Austin Eckroat. You can find him as high as 55.
I bet him.
I think you did. Yeah. You can find him as high as 55 out there. Where he's showing up in the model just doesn't equal him being 55-1. So probably the other guy that I'm going to have on the card this week as well. Guys, as you know, if you're new to the channel, upper right-hand corner of thelines.com, that's our Discord. You can go in there and see everyone's full cards whenever you want to. Also, if you are finding us for the first time, please hit that subscribe button here on the YouTube channel. Everything we do is absolutely free. Steven, we're approaching millions upon 10 million views, all the kinds of stuff that's going on here with the channel. So we appreciate the support from you guys as we grow this thing as well. For Steven, I'm Matt. Good luck on all your 3M bets.